MMA Island here, and today I am joined by Jordan Heiderman, aka Mr. I Eat Spinning Wheel Kicks for Breakfast. How's it going, man?
Good, man. Good. Glad to be on here.
So I have no doubt that your days are completely filled these days. So I really appreciate you making the time and space to come on with us, and we're happy to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Days have just been crazy and just running together, but all for the good, all for the better. So super excited.
Perfect. So just out of curiosity, where are you right now? Are you back home in Nebraska? Or are you still out on the West Coast?
Nope. Yep. Back in Nebraska, back in Norfolk.
Perfect. No place like home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So last week, after a few episodes and a few fights had taken place throughout this season of The Ultimate Fighter, we finally got to see you perform against Chandler Cole in the last fight of the initial round. And as I was alluding to earlier with my spinning wheel kick comment, you put on quite the performance.
Yeah, thank you. It was a tough fight. Chandler came out ready to go and gave me everything he had, and I was able to get the finish in the third, and couldn't be more happy with that.
Totally. And man, was that an exciting fight. I watched it late at night. I'm over here on the East Coast now. I just moved to North Carolina from Omaha, and so I'm about an hour ahead. And I was watching the episode back late at night, and my roommate and his girlfriend could hear me screaming and cheering from the other room. I think I woke them up. But it was a really exciting fight to watch. It was awesome to see another homegrown corn-fed Nebraskan getting it done, and yeah, man, it's super exciting to see you doing your thing this season.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been a wild ride, and I'm excited to keep it going.
Cool. So your fight was the last one on the initial round of fights, and then this past Tuesday, a couple of days ago, at the end of the episode, they announced the first fight of the semifinals, and so you faced someone from the opposing team, Team Nunes, for your first fight, and now you're in this kind of situation where you are going up against another one of the higher caliber fighters who just happened to be on your team, Zach Poga. Tell me what your thoughts are about this matchup and what can the fans expect when they get to watch that back next weekend.
Yeah, so just going into the Chandler fight, I was so focused on that fight that I wasn't even thinking about who am I going to get matched up against after. But then once I got the win and got back to the house, I'm like, oh shoot, we're gonna have to end up fighting each other. Somebody's gonna have to, and just kind of crazy how it all worked out. Had to fight my teammate, my roommate. So
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the matchup, and how do you think your style stacks up against Zach's?
yeah, I understand why they matched me and Zach up. Just stylistically, it just it's going to be a good fight. So I'm excited for the next episode and for y'all to see it.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all excited to finally get there. So you're undefeated, 5-0, undefeated in the this season's tough tournament. Um, do you are you able to really hone in on the moment and focus on each fight as it comes, or is there any part of you that thinks ahead to what it could be like if you get that UFC contract at the end of the season?
Absolutely. You're definitely always thinking about the last fight, the next fight, the future fights, the future life of yourself, and you just got to reel yourself back in and think about what's coming up next. What do I need to focus on first? And it gets challenging at times, and especially when you're put in like a pressure cooker situation, living in that house with all those fighters that are just as hungry as you are. So
Yeah. So it's interesting because as viewers, as the audience, we're experiencing each episode one at a time, once a week. But I'm sure when you were filming this season. It everything went by a lot quicker. I remember listening to one of your other recent interviews, and you mentioned there was 4 fights that took place in one night. So this is something that I'm sure is a really high pace, intense kind of period of time where you're going in, you're in this house full of strangers, there's a lot riding on the opportunity, and it seems like maybe everything is going by a lot quicker than how we were experiencing it as an audience. And so I guess what I'm getting at is, what was it like filming this season of The Ultimate Fighter, um, and what would you say we have to look forward to ahead of this matchup between you and Zach?
Yeah, just the overall experience was awesome. You know, the people I met, the coaches, the fellow fighters, and just being at the Apex itself was just a great experience. And then my episode coming up this next week with Zach, it's gonna be a good one. So I'm excited.
Yeah, totally. So, do you see yourself, regardless of the outcome, which obviously you know and have experienced, but we are still highly anticipating as fans, do you foresee yourself training with Juliana Pena again in the future, regardless of the outcome?
Absolutely. I enjoyed her as a coach, and I enjoyed her coaching staff, and she made us all seem more than welcome to come down whenever we want, and I hope to take advantage of that in the future here. So,
Awesome. What were some of the biggest takeaways this season for you as an individual and a fighter?
everything, just from the minor details that they were breaking down during practice, what I need to hone in on and get better at, and then just on the outside part of the media and all that, and sponsors and stuff like that. It's just it's a crazy industry, and it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, totally. So, as we know, Pena and Nunes are preparing for the rematch at the end of July. Did it feel like you were getting to train side by side Pena as she prepares for her fight, or was it solely like a coach to fighter relationship and experience throughout the season?
For me personally, it was coach to fighter, but for the other female fighters on the show, she was getting down with them. She was strapping up the gloves. She was rolling with them. But to me, she was just a coach, because obviously she didn't want to roll with me or throw punches. I'm sure she would have, but that didn't happen during the show.
Totally. And speaking of, this was kind of an interesting season because we have 2 different weight classes, sort of as close to the opposite ends of like the weight class spectrum as you can get. We've got women's flyweights and men's heavyweights. And so, what was that like? It was kind of a unique season.
Was a unique season, and it kind of limited practices, because then I was only limited to my 4 or 3 other heavyweights on my team, and then the fact that we had 2 teammates fighting each other in this next episode, it's made it real tough, and so it was different, something to get used to. But I'm pretty laid back. I can get along with anybody, even if it's a 125-pound female.
Totally. Did you walk away from this experience with any possible lifelong connections or bonds?
Absolutely. There were some great people in the house, and I just got off the phone with Bobby Maximus earlier today, and he's going to have me on his podcast tomorrow, so I'm excited for that. And actually, I still talk to Zach, and even after our fight, we still get along and talk. So there's some great people in the house.
Yeah, that's awesome. It is one of those things where, like, when you've got guys that are as talented as y'all, if you're not meeting now, at what point will you guys end up fighting each other down the line? So maybe it's better that you get it out of the way now, and then you can continue to be friends and or future training partners.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody was pretty professional about it, and didn't take it too. I mean, they took it serious because it's their career, but as far as the drama and whatnot, it didn't leave the ring.
Yeah, absolutely. So how much different was it training for let's say, a 2-round fight and a series of fights that maybe happen a lot more frequent than, let's say, a normal year of fighting where you've got months in between training camps and fights?
That was extremely difficult. So I knew that there was only going to be 2 rounds for the first fight, but my fight ended up going to the 3rd round anyways, which worked out in my favor. And then to jump back, I only had 2 weeks in between that fight, and it's just that's not normal, especially after a scrap I had with Chandler. I would have took several months off after a fight like that, but I had 2 weeks to get it together and prepare for Zach.
Awesome. So, what was the procedure after the first fight? Did you undergo the same medical examination that one would if they had been in a normal professional fight?
Yep, we're looked over by the commission there and the doctors they have, and they clear you to go on to the next round.
Would you say that's the most compromised you've been in a fight?
Yeah, absolutely. He caught me as clean as you could, do it. And I believe that kick knocks out every other heavyweight in that house.
I
it
think
was definitely a struggle to try to come back from that, but just shows how tough I am.
Yeah, 100%. I was at the edge of my seat, sweaty palms, hoping that it wasn't the end in that first round, and you really rallied, and it was such an exciting fight. Yeah, I think that kick knocks out most heavyweights, period, not just the guys on the show.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It was nasty, and I felt it for several days after. It was
For
nasty.
sure. Yeah, flashes of the Chris Barnett win in one of his most recent fights.
Yeah, that's the matchup I want to see is Barnett versus Chandler.
For sure. Okay. So have you had the chance to train with some of the other guys in the UFC who are from different parts of Nebraska, and have any of them kind of inspired your mixed martial arts journey?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. I just recently started going up to Omaha and training with Anthony Smith, and that's just been great. He's preparing for a fight, and so it's just been great to work with him.
That's really awesome to hear. I think that'll be a really good thing. Two good guys, two really good fighters, and it's kind of awesome that you're within a weight class of each other, and so there's not a huge size discrepancy, and so I can see how that will work out really well.
Yeah, it's been great, and I hope to continue that and to learn a lot from him.
Okay, and you said you have been training, or the plan is to go out to Omaha?
I have been. Just started a couple weeks ago, and I go up a few times a week and train with him, and then come back to Norfolk and train in my home gym.
Very cool. So what has that been like training with Lionheart?
It's been awesome. He's just at a different level. The guy is a beast, I got probably a solid 20 to 30 pounds on him, and he's just a powerhouse. It's just insane.
I love it. Okay, so Jordan, I really want to be respectful of your time, and so I've just got 1 or 2 more questions for you. And I'm going to refer back to the Nunes Pena matchup at the end of next month. What's your prediction?
Pena's got it. She's a killer. She was my coach, so I'm definitely going to back her all the way. And she's just got the fire and the hunger to defend that belt. So definitely got her back on that.
Okay. How do you think she does it?
I think it's gonna go a little deep in the rounds. I think it might be in the 2nd or 3rd, but then she's gonna smash that neck like she did in the first fight, and Nunes is gonna tap.
Yeah. Okay. Another tap finish. I like it.
Yep.
Okay. So you've got your episode next week, next Tuesday, and it's this was something I wanted to get into earlier, and I'm glad I thought of it again. At the beginning of this season, there was a lot of background on several fighters, and obviously being from Omaha, Nebraska myself, I was very much anticipating them finally getting to you, and it felt like it took forever. It felt like you were kind of the silent observer and sort of the fly on the wall. And so maybe I won't say being overlooked, but when you're not being as discussed as maybe some of the bigger names that it seemed like they were promoting, like Usman's Muhammad Usman and Bobby Maximus making his return. Do you think that played to your advantage?
I mean, perhaps. And I just like to think of it as like just a stealth hunter, waiting for my moment to attack my prey. So that's my personality. I like to sit back. I like to observe and go from there.
So now it seems like the tables have turned a bit because you were the last fight in that first round, and now you're the first fight in the semifinals. And so, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went while I was filming. So it is what it is, and you just kind of got to prepare as best as you can for that competition. Like I said, taking a head kick like that, you need a little more time than just 2 weeks. But I can't complain. I have an opportunity in front of me, and I'm gonna give it everything I got.
I love to hear it. Well, happy to have been able to watch that first episode. I'm super excited for this next one. Glad to see you've recovered from the first fight, and it very much seems like you're on an upward trajectory. So before we conclude, I'm going to pass the mic to you. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the audience, or any shout outs or anything like that you'd like to give?
Nothing in particular, but I just appreciate all the love and support from the fans and my family, especially. They always have my back, and it's been an awesome ride, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
I love it. So to our audience, make sure to tune in to next week's episode of The Ultimate Fighter. It'll be Jordan Heiderman facing off with Zach Poga in the first round of the semifinals. And also, don't forget to catch Jordan's movie at the beginning of July. It's Thor: Love and Thunder, I think is the name of it. All right, so Jordan, once again, thank you so much for your time. We'd love to have you on again sometime in the future, and I'm excited to see where this experience takes you.
For sure. Thanks.
Thanks again, Jordan. See ya.
Yep. Bye.